Good morning. Good morning to you. It's Walter Crane Day, and I am really excited to to bring you Walter Crane. I'm gonna just check my stream, make sure that you guys can hear me and everything, and then we're gonna get started. I got a lot of links in the description for you. We have a lot of stuff to look at. We have a lot to talk about. Yeah. Okay, cool. There we are. We're here. Let me see if the music's on. Hold on. Yeah. Okay, cool. There we are. Okay. Let me see if the music's on. Oops. Okay, we have music. We have everything we need. We have coffee. We have music. We have hair put away. Because yesterday my hair was kind of wild. Anyway, see, if I don't even mention it, you probably don't even remember or know. So, why did I mention it? I don't know. Cheers. Happy Thursday. Sipping my coffee. Does anybody watch Survivor? I do. Does anybody watch Amazing Race? I do. We could talk TV, but we're not going to do that. We're gonna talk about Walter Crane, who was an incredible artist. And let's just jump right in. I have a lot of resources today, which is so great, because this guy was like, he was a very active advocate and activist for arts and artists and for a lot of other things politically. So we're going to go in. Here's what we did yesterday. Just showing you in case you want to go back and check out yesterday's stream and check out how wild my hair was yesterday. So Walter Crane also has a lot of art available to look at on the web too. So I have tons of resources for you. I mean, I shouldn't say tons of resources. I have some very fruitful resources that are chock full of great stuff. So let's just jump right in. I actually have another website that also has a great story, good writing for the biography for Walter Crane. So we might touch on this one too, because this is from OrencoOriginals.net. Counted cross stitch and needlepoint patterns for the artful stitcher, in case you're wondering. And I would be reading some of this with fair use, because I do not own this content. But it's very good, and I'm happy to give them some props, because they have this really well done, like pretty comprehensive essay on our friend Walter Crane. But we're going with Wikipedia first, because that's what we do. We do Wikipedia. We do Wikipedia primarily, and then we add on, right? So let's do it. Walter Crane, born August 1845. He's a Leo, and he died March 14th, 1915. He was an English artist and book illustrator. He's considered to be the most influential and among the most prolific children's book creators of his generation. And along with Randolph Caldecott and Kate Greenaway, we're going to do Kate Greenaway down the road this month, one of the strongest contributors to the child's nursery motif that the genre of English children's illustrated literature would exhibit in its developmental stages in the later 19th century. So he's like a bedrock important person in children's illustration. And once you see some of this stuff, I mean, it looks nothing like today's children's illustration. So it's fun to see the history. Crane's work featured some of the more colorful and detailed beginnings of the child in the garden motifs that would characterize many nursery rhymes and children's stories for decades to come. He was part of the arts and crafts movement and produced an array of paintings, illustrations, children's books, ceramic tiles, wallpapers, and other decorative arts. Crane is also remembered for his creation of a number of iconic images associated with the International Socialist Movement. Biography, early life and influences. Crane was the second son of Thomas Crane, a portrait painter and miniaturist, and Marie Crane, née Kearsley, the daughter of a prosperous malt maker. Was that beer? Hold on. I wonder if it was beer. Back up. His elder brother, Thomas, would also go into illustration, and sister Lucy was a noted writer. He was a fluent follower of the newer art movements, and he came to study and appreciate the detailed senses of the pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood, which was like a movement, casual. I would say, is it the casual movement? Like, it wasn't... A group of English painters, poets, and art critics founded in 1848, who formed a 7-member brotherhood partly modeled on the Nazarene movement. The brotherhood was only ever a loose association, and their principles were shared by other artists and poets of the time. And everything is clickable in this article if you ever want to go and read yourself. So you can expound on what we're reading today if you would like that way. And was also a diligent student of renowned artist and critic John Ruskin. Let's see who he is. English polymath, a writer, lecturer, art historian, art critic, draughtsman, and philanthropist of the Victorian era. Wrote on art, architecture, political economy, education. Okay, so he was like both into politics. He was an artist. He was a intellectual aesthete, I think, right? Let's see. Back to... He was a diligent student of renowned artist and critic John Ruskin. A set of colored page designs to illustrate Tennyson's Lady of Shalott gained approval of wood engraver William James Linton, to whom Walter Crane was apprenticed for 3 years in 1859-62. As a wood engraver, this is actually... I know sometimes Wikipedia does this thing where they and it bugs me after reading a lot of Wikipedia. They'll throw in some information that seems disconnected. This is important because he did a lot of art for wood engravings, so I'm glad that we're talking about this. But Wikipedia, I love Wikipedia, don't get me wrong. Thank you, Wikipedia. Thank you. Grateful for Wikipedia, but it is a little jarring sometimes when they just throw in something that doesn't seem to be a part of the same paragraph, and yet here it is. A set of colored pages designs to illustrate Tennyson's Lady of Shalott, which was it was a writing, it was text, it was a ballad. And it was illustrated. Gained the approval of wood engraver William James Linton, to whom Walter Crane was apprenticed for 3 years in 1859 to 62. As a wood engraver, he had abundant opportunity for minute study of the contemporary artists whose work passed through his hands, of pre-Raphaelites, Dante Gabriel Rossetti and John Everett Millais, as well as Sir John Tenniel, the illustrator of Alice in Wonderland. We're going to do him down the road this month too. And Frederick Sandys. He was a student who admired the masters of the Italian Renaissance. However, he was more influenced by the Elgin Marbles and British Museum. A further and important element in the development of his talent was the study of Japanese color prints. Everybody is so inspired by Japanese prints in the late 1800s. It's wild. I mean, I think the whole Art Nouveau movement sort of sprung from that. And if you go to, this is just me talking, it's not Wikipedia. And if you look at some of Van Gogh, some of his stuff was inspired by it too, and other artists of the time that he was connected with as well. It was just very, very popular with those artists and very influential It's wild. And when you think about it, when you look at them, when you look at some of the art and then you look at the beautiful Japanese posters and prints that they would make, decorative, you know, it's very clear. It's you see it immediately. I went to the Van Gogh exhibit a few months ago, and they talked about it, and they showed side by side of the Japanese prints and the stuff that Van Gogh was doing that was directly influenced in different ways by it. Anyway, let's go. He was a student who admired the masters of the Italian Renaissance. However, he was more influenced by the Elgin marbles in the British Museum. I want to know what Elgin marbles is. Do you mind if I just click into there? Okay. Elgin marbles are the collection of ancient Greek sculptures from the Parthenon and other structures from the Acropolis of Athens, removed from Ottoman Greece in the early 19th century and shipped to Britain by agents of Thomas Bruce, 7th Earl of Elgin, and now held in the British Museum of London. Okay, so it was definitely a part of the culture when they moved that stuff over to Britain, and he lived there, so it was important. A further and important element in the development of his talent was the study of Japanese colored prints, the methods of which he imitated in a series of toy books, which started a new fashion. Oh my gosh, is he responsible for that? Because, cheers, because we will look at some of those toy books today, and we will see a thread in the style of art of this period is really interesting and exciting. It's so exciting to connect the dots. Oh my gosh, I'm just having such a ball with this. Okay, political activity. From the early 1880s, initially under William Morris's influence, and William Morris was this guy. He was an English textile designer, poet, artist, writer, and socialist activist associated with the British arts and crafts movement, a major contributor to the revival of traditional British textile arts and methods of production. Okay, so he was on the scene. Oh, we'll talk about photos later, but this photo was taken, and this is very like eye-opening to me and blows my mind. In my post page, I have a photo of our topic guy today, Walter Crane, and I said in that caption how disarming and intimate it is that he's looking directly at the viewer in the photo. And this is even, I saw this photo after I saw that one. His was the Walter Crane one was the most disarming photo I've ever seen from this period of time that was a portrait because of the way he's looking at the viewer. And this one is no less intimate and disarming, because this photo to me looks like it was taken 100 years later, or not 100 years later, I'm sorry. Well, could be. I mean, this photo was taken in 1887. The photo of Walter was taken in 1886, and it may have been taken by the same artist, by the same photographer. I don't know, but it's clear that they were both in the art scene, because these photos are amazing for the time. Like, have you ever seen a more clear and oh god, I don't have the words. It's clearly an excellent photo for the 1800s. You know, I only ever see the ones that people are staring with a hard, you know what I'm talking about. Those pictures, you know those pictures I'm talking about, right? This is completely different. Completely different. He's like sitting having coffee with you in his dining room or something, or like in his den. You know, I mean, it's wild. Anyway, I need to expand my I need to expand my vocabulary. I'm losing words. Okay, political activity. From the early 1880s, initially under William Morris's influence, Crane was closely associated with the socialist movement. He did as much as Morris himself to bring art into the daily life of all classes of people. With this object in view, he devoted much attention to designs for textiles and wallpapers. I love that! Oh my gosh, him and me are so simpatico. And to house decoration, but he also used his art for the direct advancement of the socialist cause. I love that. Oh my gosh. I'm so, this is a lot of why I started doing art licensing, because everybody deserves to have beautiful things in their house and like to live with little pretty things. And he actually fought to get, we'll get there, but he was a big proponent for having art recognized as art, even if it was not in a museum. Like art that we live with, you know, art on product art and lifestyle art that you have in your home and these things, for that to be looked at as just as important as art in a museum, or just as valuable. And I think the same exact thing. And I've never even met this guy, you know, met him on the internets. No, I never even looked at his name or anything. And this is like, this has been part of my philosophy for a very long time. I used to have a whole thing on my website about this back in my primarily licensing days. So Crane, you're awesome. And weird. Fist bump. Okay. He created the 1885 color. Can I talk? Oh my God. Let me have a sip of my coffee. I don't think my tongue's working yet. He, as a member of the Socialist League, he created the 1885 cover illustration for their manifesto. For a long time, he provided the weekly cartoons for the socialist organs Justice, Commonwealth, and the Clarion. Is this misspelled? Commonwealth? No, it's called Commonwealth. Okay. I misspelled it. Justice, Commonwealth, and the Clarion. Many of these were collected as cartoons for the cause. Okay, we're going to just click in real quick to these for a sec, because I want you to see them. This is the 1885 cover illustration for the manifesto. Agitate, organize, the Socialist League. The manifesto of the Socialist League. William Morris and E. Belfort Mack. So William Morris, annotated by. Okay, so he was one of the main guys. All right. Beautiful artwork. Very goth. Okay. For a long time he provided, I just want to click in on these two and see what these are. Okay, so here's the Clarion. That's the newspaper. It's so wild to look at these things. Just think, you guys, this was like almost 200 years ago. Socialist postcard depicting justice. Justice is the newspaper. Okay. All right, so there were a lot of newspapers and periodicals for this. Many of these were obviously political. Many of these were collected as cartoons for the cause. Crane also devoted much time and energy to non-political societies, here we go, such as the Art Workers Guild, of which he was a master in 1888 and 1889, and to the Arts and Crafts Exhibition Society, which he helped to found in 1888. Hold on. We want to click through just to... The Guild promoted the unity of all arts, denying distinction between fine and applied art. Applied art being product art, art, lifestyle art, things that a notebook, a wallpaper, or whatever, It opposed the professionalization of architecture, which was promoted by the Royal Institute of British Architects at the time, in the belief that this would inhibit design. I don't understand that. That needs further excavation, because that to me says he doesn't believe that architecture is design. I do. Next sentence. In his 1998 book, Introduction to Victorian Style, University of Brighton's David Crowley stated the Guild was the conscientious force of the arts and crafts movement. So this all these things could be further explored, you know, by me. And alive. Anyway, let's look at the Arts and Crafts Exhibition Society, because I want to see what this is too. And he also helped to found the Arts and Crafts Exhibition Society. So we want to know what all this stuff is. Like, what is it? I don't want to just know what it's called. I want to know what it is. It was dissolved in 1960. It was formed in 1887. And it was dissolved in 1960 when it merged with the Cambridgeshire Guild of Craftsmen. It was a craft organization to promote the exhibition of decorative arts alongside fine arts. I love this. And I believe in this. Wait. It merged with the Cambridgeshire... When it merged with the Cambridgeshire Guild of Craftsmen. Okay. They must have... that must be one of their umbrella beliefs as well. And this is really cool. He was a vice president of the Healthy and Artistic Dress Union. Check this out. A movement begun in 1890 whose aim was to promote loose-fitting clothing in opposition to stiffness, tightness, and weight. They produced numerous pamphlets setting out their cause, including one entitled How to Dress Without a Corset, which Crane illustrated. I love this. I have never heard of a movement like this before. Much needed, right? Who wants to wear like corsets? Not me. Obviously, some people still want to, like Kim Kardashian, but I don't. I think it's kind of hilarious and kind of awesome because it's also, it doesn't specifically say he's a feminist in here, but clearly that was to benefit women and men and anybody who has to wear clothes that are tight and uncomfortable and structured, and women suffered more for that than men did back in these days. Although himself not an anarchist, Crane contributed to several libertarian publishers, including Liberty Press and Freedom Press. I love reading about his politics, and his passions here are just wild. He is credited with the design and decoration of the front facade of the Baum Shop, Henderson's bookshop at 66 Charing Cross Road, specializing in left-wing and radical literature. Okay. The Baum Shop. That does sound very anarchistic, I have to say. I mean, this is very entertaining. Crane was controversial in his support of the 4 Chicago anarchists executed in 1887 in connection with the Haymarket Affair. Okay, we need to find out what this Haymarket Affair is. Also known as the Haymarket Massacre, the Haymarket Riot, the Haymarket Square Riot. It shows Methodist. This is artist representation. It's not what really happened, though. There was a bomb exploding and a riot that happened. But the guy who's speaking here actually finished speaking before the bomb happened. But let's look a little bit. The aftermath of a bombing that took place at a labor demonstration. Okay, so it was a labor demonstration with a speaker and everything, and then a bomb. 8 anarchists were charged with the bombing. They were convicted of conspiracy. Okay. I guess for our purposes today, I don't think it's reading more on that is important, but he was controversial in his support of the 4 Chicago anarchists executed. Okay, so 4 Chicago anarchists, we know how it ends now, got executed, and he was not happy about that. Maybe he didn't believe that they did it. I don't know. I don't want to spread rumors, but he supported them. Visiting the United States for the first time in connection with an exhibition of his work in 1891, Crane scandalized polite society by appearing at a Boston anarchist meeting and expressing the opinion that the Haymarket defendants had been put to death wrongfully. Returning to his hotel, Crane found a letter stating that he faced hopeless ruin among American patrons of the arts, owing to his support of those who were commonly considered to be terrorist conspirators in public opinion of the day. Financial support was withdrawn, and planned dinners in Crane's honor were canceled. In response to the controversy, Crane wrote a letter to the press explaining that he had not meant to cause insult and did not himself favor the use of explosives, but had merely been expressing his principled opinion that those convicted were innocent of the crime for which they were charged. The incident was memorialized in the press as probably the most dramatic episode in the artist's career. So he was very outspoken, and he was not afraid to use his visibility to state his beliefs. Crane publicly criticized the British government for the Second Boer War and joined Stop the War Committee. Let's look real quick at what the Second Boer War was. Look at how much we're learning here. Part of the Boer Wars during the scramble for Africa. Boer War redirects here. Hold on a second. Okay, the Boer War was in southern Africa. British victory. Conquest and dissolution of the South African Republic and Orange Free State. Okay. Yeah. So, it's a lot to read right now, and that's a lot to wrap your head around right now. So, just controversial. Publicly criticized the British government for the Second Boer War and joined Stop the War Committee. Okay. Personal life. Okay, here we're getting into some stuff here. A new side of his life that we haven't yet heard about. We haven't heard anything about his personal romantic relationships at all. Or, anything. Walter Crane married embroiderer Mary Frances Andrews in 1871, and they proceeded on a 2-year honeymoon. Isn't that great? 2 years. In Italy, the newlyweds made contact with artists from other countries. While Crane's illustrations were published in England, the couple went on to have 3 children. See, something like that. That's a sentence that I don't understand. In Italy, the newlyweds made contact with artists from other countries, while Crane's illustrations were published in England. Where's the connection here? Anyway, the couple went on to have 3 children with Crane featuring himself, his wife, and one of their sons in his 1885 watercolor, The Apotheosis of Italian Art. Both he and his wife I love this picture, but I didn't know that this was going to click here. I was going to show you that picture too later, but we just looked at it. We can look at it again later. Again, another beautiful photo that from the time that it looks like it was done, 100 years ago. Both he and his wife enjoyed... Okay. Who wants to go to one of their parties? I do. Both he and his wife enjoyed giving enormous costume parties, so that the couple's New Year's parties were considered a major event in London's artistic social calendar. I mean, that sounds so wild. I would love to go. I want to go and wear a little mask and everything. Okay. Late in 1914, at the age of 68, Francis Crane went on a rest cure in King's North Kent, but committed suicide in a tragic train incident. The coroner's jury ruled it to be a case of temporary insanity. This brings up rest cures, and I looked up rest cures, and I didn't know anything about them, and I don't know why Wikipedia doesn't have a little link to rest cure. If you Google it, did I save a Google? Hold on. I may have saved a Google on this. Did I? Rest cure. We're going to look it up because I want to just real quickly show you what a rest cure was for those who don't know, because I did not know what a rest cure was. No, not test cure, rest cure. Not test cure. R-E-S-T. Search. Rest Cure. There is a page named Rest Cure. Okay, it's called Bed Rest, but also referred to as the Rest Cure, is a medical treatment in which a person lies in bed. This sounds miserable, okay. Is a treatment in which a person lies in bed for most of the time to try and cure an illness. Bed rest refers to voluntarily, and okay, let's be honest, it sounds like it wasn't always voluntarily either. Lying in bed is a treatment and not being confined to bed because of a health impairment which physically presents leaving bed. Wait, what did that say? Bed rest refers to voluntarily lying in bed as a treatment. Oh, right, okay. Not being confined to bed because you can't walk or something. The practice is still used, although a 1999 systematic review found no benefits for any of the 17 conditions studied, and no proven benefit for any conditions at all beyond that imposed by symptoms. They need better a better page on this, because this is not okay. History, and we want to know, because there's a doctor who created this. There's a whole history behind this bed cure thing, rest cure thing. A whole history behind it, and I read about it last night, but I didn't save the page because I didn't think we were going to go into it today. But as a treatment, bed rest is okay. Why is it rest cure or bed rest cure was a 19th century treatment for many mental disorders, particularly hysteria. Taking to bed, quote unquote, and becoming a quote unquote invalid for an indefinite period was a culturally accepted response to some of the adversities of life. Melville Arnott noted the increased use of bed rest in late 19th and early 20th century medical practice. Okay, we're not going to read that. Okay, ready? In 1892, feminist writer Charlotte Perkins Gilman published The Yellow Wallpaper, a horror short story based on her experience when placed under the rest cure by Dr. Silas W. Mitchell himself. This is the guy that came up with the rest cure. It was actually called the rest cure. That was the title of the treatment. She wasn't allowed to write in a journal, paint a picture, or release her imagination in any way, though she was artistically inclined. If she ever felt ill, she was simply told to return to bed. Her specific instructions from Dr. Mitchell were to, quote, live as domestic a life as possible, have your child with you all the time, lie down an hour after each meal, have but 2 hours intellectual life a day, and never touch a pen, brush, or pencil as long as you live. Gilman abided by Mitchell's instructions for several months before practically losing control of her sanity. Eventually, Gilman divorced her husband and pursued a life as a writer and a women's rights activist. She later explained in her 1935 autobiography, The Living of Charlotte Perkins Gilman, that she could not be restrained to the domestic lifestyle without losing her sanity, and that it was not a choice between going and staying, but between going sane and staying insane. Okay. There's way more on this, but that's like a in a nutshell type of thing with rest cure. So I think, I don't know, but I'm gathering from just all the clues of reading that she had some, imbalances or just depression, and the rest cure just made it all worse. Right? It made it a lot worse. She committed suicide in a tragic train incident. If we know that she committed suicide and we know that it was in a train incident, I imagine there was probably like tracks involved or something. So it just sounds miserable and horrible. And I'm sure it was a lot to try and get over. So Walter's death and legacy. He died on 14th of March, 1915 in Horsham Hospital, West Sussex, 3 months after his wife died. His body was cremated at the Golders Green Crematorium where his ashes remain. He was survived by their 3 children. Okay. Are we just finding out now that they had kids? Which, That's a little backwards. They're not giving us that much. I think that there's another story that I have that I will link in the description. I will put it, if it's not in the description now, I will put it there. That one has more information that's kind of like, it's just like a better written story. I'll read a little bit of it after this. He was survived by the 3 children, Beatrice, Lionel, and Lancelot. Okay, hold on. I do want to just go in. Let's read on Orenco Originals website real quick, because this is just a more like, it's just better written. Like, it gives us more of what we want, I think. Let me just, we know this. Walter Crane started his development as an artist in his father's studio. He then progressed to engraver's draughtsman, which meant that he transferred an artist's designs onto the engraver's woodblocks. Later, he became an illustrator in his own right, contributing to books and magazines. His success there led to commissions designing wallpaper, tiles, and other household goods. So he was an art licensor, but that's not what it was in those days. As a wood engraver, Crane had an opportunity to study his contemporary artists whose work passed through his hands, pre-Raphaelites, Dante Gabriel Rossetti and John Everett Millais, as well as Alice in Wonderland illustrator Sir John Tenniel and Frederick Sandys. During this time, Crane studied Japanese color prints and applied the style to a series of toy books, which started a new fashion. We're going to look at those. But you see, it's just like written more conversationally than the Wikipedia. And it's more absorptive. Is that a word I just made up? Because I can just absorb it better. Crane painted a set of colored page designs to illustrate Tennyson's Lady of Shalott, which earned him acclaim, and he found recognition and approval of wood engraver William James Linton, to whom Walter Crane was apprenticed for 3 years. So, okay, Linton saw Crane's aptitude for drawing and design and gave him assignments to improve his skills. In 1862, Crane's apprenticeship came to an end, but his drawing skills and his contacts through Linton earned him an invitation to work as an illustrator for Edmund Evans, the leading woodblock color printer of the time. This is big, right? This is big because everyone's probably working with Edmund Evans, like all the publishers and stuff. In the 1860s, colored printing with woodblocks was a promising new aspect of the expanding book market. See, this is the type of stuff they didn't give you on Wikipedia, and this is really important to us. In the 1860s, color printing with woodblocks was a promising new aspect of the expanding book market, which was quickly growing thanks to the increasing literacy rate. And that's important. Evans first employed Crane to design book covers for his yellowback, referring to the yellow enameled covering paper that didn't show wear as quickly, novels, when he was only 18 years old. Though Crane quickly adapted to the coloring work, it was his difficulty with rendering everyday scenes that prompted Evans to move him from yellowbacks to children's books. This is huge, where he could apply his imagination to illustrate children's nursery rhymes and fairy tales in short, expensive picture books referred to as toy books, popular in the Victorian era for Routledge Publishing. Crane illustrated 37 toy books over the next 10 years, earning him the title Academician of the Nursery, and effectively pigeonholing his artistic style as that of a children's book illustrator. Though his work with Evans during this time made him most famous children's book illustrator of his day, Crane was not enthusiastic about the moniker and didn't think much of the toy books that he was illustrating. He was quoted as saying, "They were not very inspiring. These were generally careless and unimaginative woodcuts, very casually colored by hand." Despite his chagrin for the simplicity of children's book illustration, Crane did devote a great deal of time to his designs and to the way that children viewed pictures. Crane's early books were heavily influenced by Japanese woodblock prints with flat decorative compositions and deep perspective. He, like the pre-Raphaelites, viewed each book as a work in which every design element was reflective of the whole, including the covers and end papers. So everything was kind of a visual narrative. That's how they designed these books, right? Each book as a work. in which every design, I'm just repeating it because it's important, in which each design element was reflective of the whole, including the covers and end papers. So when you open, like the book is all encompassing. It's like a visual, you're walking through a visual story in and of itself, which is a lovely way to think of a book. And you see it in those old books because everything is designed for the whole and to give you more information. Like the end papers have, either decorative elements or even additional information about the interior pages, of like whatever the content is. In 1865, Crane visited an art gallery in Piccadilly, London, where he viewed work, a painting by Ford Madox Brown. Though this piece did not have an immediate... This is work right here. This one. Ooh. Though this piece did not have an immediate impact on his artistic style, the subject matter did have a profound impact on his long-term career. The painting shows historian Thomas Carlyle and F.D. Maurice, head of the Christian Socialist movement, observing the labors of a group of working-class men. Madox Brown's revolutionary painting was a milestone for British art because it was the first time an artist had deemed a working-class person a subject worthy of painting. That's important because back in the day, and this is like happening at this time, for instance, the show I saw of Van Gogh, he did the whole Rulin family, and they were really poor, and people who were really poor back then did not get portraits painted. Like it was a total class thing. Like only people who had more money got portraits painted. People who did not have the money to do it, who were living hand to mouth, who, couldn't afford heat or like half the time couldn't afford groceries, who were poor, could not get portraits painted, and it was a definite it was a definite divide. It was like a class division thing. So that's a big deal. And all of his like art for the people stuff with wanting to equalize museum art with living art, like art that you live with, that is also equalizer. Class equalizer too, because everybody should have access and be able to live with beautiful art. Everybody, no matter what your, no matter how much money you make or don't make or anything, you should have and that is why one of the reasons why I love art licensing so much, like why I believe in it, because we all should be able to live with beautiful art and beautiful things. Everybody should have access. That's why I love to go into an art store and see like all these beautiful things on the big table of all the gifty things. And, because it's like, here's the stuff to make the art. And then you should have beautiful art in your home too, Anyway, that's another story for another day. But we know he was a very political guy. And his art was... Crane viewed art as a tool for revolution, an implement that could be used to change the minds of society. He worked on socialist pamphlets and posters when he was not illustrating children's books. He did more than children's books too, but he did some beautiful work for his political stuff. And hold on, let's read this real quick. An example of his political views being applied to children's literature can be seen in his successful illustrations for Household Stories by the Brothers Grimm, considered by many to be one of his most notable works. These illustrations were filled with historical and allegorical connotations that spoke to the political consciousness of social reform. Okay. Okay, so Walter Crane married Mary Frances Andrews on 6th September 1871. They spent the next 18 months in Italy, where he painted portraits, landscapes, and continued his book illustrations. So he was all doing this while he was on his honeymoon, right? So they're just like, he's working, traveling. He's like being a, creative nomad, right? He had paintings accepted by the Royal Academy and had several exhibitions in London art galleries. That's beautiful. Look at that. He did a lot of paintings. And then you look at his line work and it's like, man, this guy can do everything. Okay. We don't need to read more about his political, but I do want to show you this one because I love it. A Garland for May Day, dedicated to the workers by Walter Crane. And then if you read around what's in the wreath, it's sort of his little manifesto that he wrote there. And then cartoons for the cause. I haven't seen this cover before. Crane's work contributed to a lasting impression. Crane's work contributed a lasting impression on the art and the labor movement in Britain. Between the 1880s and World War I, the socialist artwork developed by Crane can be seen on posters, pamphlets, membership cards, and trade union banners. Crane's work was also widely circulated in Europe and in Italy and Germany. In Germany, his reputation as an artist was greater than it was in England. Oh. And in Italy and Germany, his reputation as an artist was greater than it was in England. That's beautiful. Look at that. 1900. That's when he did that. Okay. His most famous work is often considered to be the illustrations he created for Edmund Spenser's 16th century epic poem, The Faerie Queene. The design elements of the arts and crafts movement clearly influenced Crane's style in these illustrations. Like John Ruskin, Edward Burne-Jones, and William Morris, Crane was looking back to the English Gothic style for inspiration, viewing it as an honest time when the artists were craftsmen and the craftsmen were artists. Does this make you think of AI? Because it makes me think of AI. Crane's focus on the design of an entire book as a cohesive whole are especially evident in this tome, as the intricate borders mesh seamlessly with the medieval scenes. Can you imagine seeing one of these books now? Oh, I would want to Google that and see if I could see one at auction or something, photos of it. His illustrations for The Faerie Queene garnered such high praise that it is one of the most beautiful works of the late 19th century arts and crafts movement. Crane's intricately decorated borders, calligraphy, and Gothic revival images blend into one harmonious whole, echoing lavish creations by William Morris and his Kelmscott Press. Okay. I'm not going to read the whole thing. He wrote books too. Okay. Oh, he did write books. I'm sorry. I saw that I knew he wrote books. He has a book online on like artwork, and I love that. So he was just like, I think I would get along really well with this guy. Okay. Because I feel like I align with a lot of his thoughts. On 18 December 1914, Crane's wife Mary was found dead on the railway line near Kingsnorth in Kent. The couple had been married for 44 years, and Crane was devastated by her death. Walter Crane died 3 months later in Horsham Hospital on 14th March 1915. When Crane died in 1915, his obituary in the Times summed him up as one of the chiefs of those artists who redeemed the English design from hopeless and incompetent ugliness. But it continued, if we were less familiar with his work, we should see its originality more clearly. But we have known it since our childhood, when we enjoyed his children's books so much that, rather ungratefully, we have never enjoyed any of his works so keenly since. So his children's work was his most known, but he really was extremely prolific in a lot of art. So where are we going? Let's go to Wikimedia Commons. I actually have a bunch of pieces that what's this? I want to look at this one. What's that? Let's look at it. Come on. There we go. Ooh, look at that. Look at how busy. I mean, you can go to Wikimedia Commons and see so much of his work. Anyway, I have a lot of links, but I'm going to show you a few that I picked out. So this was the cover of one of his very famous children's books that he did with Edmund Evans, and when he worked for him. And here's another one of his popular books, The Baby's Opera. A book of old rhymes with new dresses. The music by the earliest masters. Engraved and printed in colors by Edmund Evans. I mean, I just think the coloring and the line, I find this a very compelling cover. And it's so interesting to see how different, like, really when we're doing art for children, it has to appeal to the adults, right? I mean, it has to appeal to both. I think now things are a little different. You know, things are simpler. We know more about the way the children develop and things like that. So the art oftentimes is more bright, easy to see, that kind of thing. But it's interesting to see how the art was a lot of times also dictated by the adults' aesthetic, you know, clearly, right? Clearly. And also shows a lack of what we knew about kids' development in those times too. So this is what I was talking about. He had Line and Form by Walter Crane. So I think this book, if I looked into it more, it's probably about drawing, which I love that he did that. This was one drawing that he did for a book, and I forget what book it was. Here's a book he did, Flowers from Shakespeare's Garden, pictured by Walter Crane. This was a nice, this was the cover, and here's some of the pictures of it that he did in it. So it's like a picture book. Oh, two of the same. Rosemary, musk roses. I'll zoom you in a little bit so you can see a little better. Tilt it. So you can see all of these on the links that I have in the description. Oops. I just put my phone charger in my coffee. Whoops. Oops. That's not good. That ain't gonna be good. Here's some more of his art. Beautiful, right? Look at this. Look at the colors. I love this. I was thinking about illustrating this one today, but I also was thinking about doing the Aesop children's book. And then I love this one too. I love this one. I love this one because it also combines. I love the lettering, and I love how like unassuming it is and not perfect, and you know what I mean. It's on different lines, and you know it's not. And like he didn't like. I would be like, oh my god, is it exactly even? And it's not, and that's fine. Who cares, right? Love that. The peacock considered it wrong that he had not the nightingale's song. So to Juno he went, she replied, be content with thy having, and hold thy fool's tongue. Do not quarrel with nature. There's another... Oh, where's the other one? Oh, here's one. He did another little limerick that was really cute. Wait, I want to read this again. The peacock considered it wrong that he had not the nightingale's song. So to Juno he went, she replied, be content with thy having, and hold thy fool's tongue. Okay. I think I have to know the story to understand that. But these are just beautiful, right? I love it. I love to look at this stuff. And this is Beauty and the Beast. Look at this. Beauty and the Beast. Wild, right? Look at this. This is the Beast. And this is... I liked... I think these probably went with little... poems or something. There was a lady loved a swine. Jack and Jill. There's a picture of him. This is beautiful. I am very like attracted to this art. I love it. Violin Part 2 May Song. This is so beautiful. I love it. Love it. Okay. Oh, here I did. Okay. Ta-da. So I screenshotted the rust cure thing for you, and I forgot I had it in here. The rust cure was a 19th century treatment developed by neurologist Silas Ware Mitchell. This gives you more in a nutshell type of stuff about this. For nervous disorders like hysteria, neurasthenia, and depression. It involved enforced bed rest, isolation, no intellectual or creative activity, and a fatty diet, often accompanied by massage and electrical stimulation. Does this not sound scary? This sounds scary to me. The cure, though sometimes keeping patients from more severe mental institutions, is now seen as an example of medical misogyny because it was predominantly prescribed to women and ignored their intellectual lives. Okay. All right. So we're going to draw. Finally, we're going to draw. And what do we want to draw? What do we want to draw? What do we want to draw? Okay. I like that. I think I want to do something like, I was thinking one of these because they're more simple, which none of them are really simple, but then I thought I might do a cover. I don't want to do that. I just wanted to show you that, but the art is just sort of, and this cover is very compelling to me. It's beautiful. But I think I might do that Peacock lady because I really like that one. Let's find it. Let's find the Peacock. There. Okay. I'm going to send this to my computer, and then I'm going to go put it on the screen and we're going to draw. Sound good? All right. Give me a sec. Give me 1 second. All right, we might as well just do that, right? Okay. All right. We are good to go. Let's do this. Let's draw. I'm going to turn the overhead light on. Okay. I am going to set things up and we're gonna do this. We are gonna draw this picture. You know what I like? I really wanted to do like art with words. Like that's important to me. So, and he did a lot of lettering. I mean, a ton of it. He was very much into that. So this is just, you know, the moment to do stuff like that because we're learning about this guy who did it all, right? He wrote, he illustrated, he did hand lettering, and I'm just grabbing some pens because I want to have some pens ready here. So today, let's actually, hold on a second. I gotta test out this pen because on my test page, I did something really very risky. Very risky. I filled this chamber with ink without the stopper thing in there. So we have this juicy, very, very juicy, free-flowing ink pen here, which is kind of nice to have something like this. Okay, there's inside of, oh, and it's dripping all over the place. No, it's not fun. That's not fun. So that shouldn't happen, right? We shouldn't do that. We're just having a big mess. Let me get a paper towel. I think I learned my lesson. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because I had my pens filled and they were acting like they weren't. They were acting like they weren't. So I was thinking, well, maybe the kind of ink that I'm using is too thick for the pens, right? Because that would be a logical explanation. And so I removed the inner chamber, which I will if I have it here, I do. Here's what the inner chamber looks like of this pen. The inner chamber of this pen looks like this. It looks like this, and it goes in like this, and it goes in like this. Do you see it's like drippy? That's like watery ink. And then you shut it, and then it goes in here. And there's not, see, this goes in here. There's not a lot of ink, right? After all is said and done, how much ink is in there? So I just, you know, I was getting anarchic on my pens, and I just went and was like, well, I'm just going to fill this chamber because, like, I want a pen that's nice and juicy, but it's a bit, it's like a free flower now. So I think what I'll do, because it might be kind of nice to have a pen that like this that's just super inky all the time, and I can just grab it when I just want to have that experience. But that's not good for, like, you know, on the regular when I need to have precision and stuff. So let's go in on the Peacock's complaint. We are doing the Peacock's complaint, and I'm getting ink. I'm going to wash my hand like right here, like this. We're going to be very much like our own little sink. And I'm just going to do that. And I'm going to get a paper towel and I'm going to get my hands clean. Because I noticed that I just got some ink on my book. And do we care? Do we care about this? Do I care about this? Let me do this. Let me put a little bit of water in here because I don't have a little water holder except for this. I'm just going to see if I can wash it off a little bit. Making it worse. All right, we're going to skip this page and we're going to go to a different page because I want to start with a fresh page. So let's do this. And then I think I want to, because I look at his drawings and how they're like engravy. Engravy. And all I can think about is Thanksgiving when I say gravy. They're very engravy. And I feel like perhaps this type of a pen, the Fudnasuk, Tombow Fudnasuk, brush tip they call it. It's not really a brush. It's like a softish, it's like a pliable point. It might be a good one. We're going to go loose on this though. I mean, obviously. Otherwise I'm never going to finish this, but let's do this. Let's just go in. I think I need to tilt this though because my iPad is just giving me reflect, and I don't like that. So let's do this. I want to make sure you can see too, because that's incredibly important to me here. So let's do that. I'll see if that works. Although you're kind of in my face now, so I'll do like that. Let's see if that works. Okay. Let's just go in. We're just gonna go in here. I'm not even gonna... Of course I'm gonna start with her face, right? Uh-oh, I don't think I gave myself enough room here. This is like blind contour, but not at all. Oops! Made her finger too long. This is like blind, drawn blind, but not blind because I have my eyes, but I'm just not sketching. I'm just going right in. This is going to be super, super loosey. Loosey-goosey. But I just want to like explore his line art. I just look at this line art and I think this was all done not on the computer. You know, I mean, look, I didn't grow up with, you know, Procreate and stuff. We're just going to draw as much of this as we can. I'm not going to worry about the, I am making an executive decision to not worry about, if I go off the page, I go off the page. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Basically what I'm trying to say is, if things go awry, then, like, that's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. We're just going to keep going on this one. This one is just, we're rocking and rolling. We're not going to get, you know, I'm not switching to another page, basically. You know, should I go off the page or something? If something gets cut off, it does get cut off, and that's just what's going to happen. But this is really fun for me, and I hope it's fun for you too. And I'm just going right in on this. We're just, basically what I'm doing is I'm just like exploring his line through my lines, right? I'm just... Which is like, I never used to really believe in drawing from other people's work, but I do see the value in it because you kind of, well, first of all, it's really good for your eye-hand coordination, right? It's just a good practice because the more practice you get with that, like that's important. But, and it's kind of hard to do this while actually having a conversation with you too, I have to say. But, it's, strangely very, it's very educational. Like you just get so much. I feel like you learn about the artist a lot when you do it, you know? Because you're like drawing where they draw and like how they draw and trying to make the lines like they draw, and it's just very interesting. And I do think that this pen does mimic the line that he uses in a lot of his line work. Definitely way better than the brush pen. Would be just very challenging to do with this. Okay, I need a circle, and I'm going to cheat. I'm going to cheat on the circle because I think this is actually the right, if I'm looking, I think this is like the right compositional, the closest size I'm going to get is like this thing here. So let's just do it. Let's just go in on our circle. And yeah, I prefer to not use like, I prefer to not have like the straight line, I mean the perfect circle line, but I would rather have that than sit here for like an hour and like and struggle with that. So that was actually perfect. It came in perfectly handy, and I think, if I am not mistaken, that may have been the perfect size for what I'm doing right here. We have a lot going on. I'm gonna deal with peacock leaves a little bit later. Right now, let's tackle a little bit of this.
place to be happy. You can do whatever you like. You don't have to be ready. You just gotta trust the right. Don't have to be scary. You just gotta follow the light. You're able to be happy. You can do whatever you like. You don't have to be ready. You don't have to be.
Hey, Megan. Hey, user, nameless person. Great screen name. Love it. I'm drinking coffee. We got coffee going. Megan, how you doing today? Hope you're doing good. I think we're good. I think this is the finale. Here we are. Okay. I think we're good. Up, my volume's up. Hold on a second. This is the finale. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Hold on. Hold on, and I'm going to show you the finale. The final. So we did this all with ink. All with ink and water. I used the Tombow Fudnasuk soft tip brush pen. It's not really a brush. It looks like this. Great pen. Love it. And used my water brush and used some ink. Used some Sumi ink. Let me get a good look for you here. And here is our final. Get you a good little close-up-ish. Here, let me show you a close-up. So here we are. We're still kind of wet. I'm going to do like this because I'm taking up half the screen. Well, not half, but you know what I mean. And then the bottom got a little jumbly, and that's fine. We worked it out. And an homage to Walter Crane, artist of the late 1800s. Artist and artist advocate. So I hope you guys have a great day. I'm not going to be on today for a 12:30 because it's already like 1:30, right? No, it's 12:30. Is it 12:30? Yeah. It's 12:30 now. Yeah, I'm not going to be on for Night Garden Fairy Cats because I'm just finishing up the art for that book, and I'm super excited. I'm going to have it finished soon, and soon I will be coming back on my 12:30 lives for my next project, but I think I'm going to have a little bit of time in between, so I think I'm going to take a short break for my second lives of the day. I will still be here at 10 a.m. doing commercial artists of the 19th century for the entire month of November. Yes, I am even planning on doing it on Thanksgiving Day in the US. That's right. That's right. No breaks. No breaks for me, except for the second live of the day. So, and then, yeah, so I will see you tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed this one. I really went down the rabbit hole with this guy, and I'm fascinated. And his body of work is astounding. And I hope you enjoy it, and I hope that if you're interested, you will go and look him up further and see how he has been so influential to the 1900s, because his work was just like open the gates to a lot of this style. So, all right, I'll talk to you tomorrow at 10 a.m. for our next artist. Okay, I don't even know what it is right now. I haven't looked yet, haven't gotten there yet, but we'll get there. Okay, have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.